DeepSeek are continuing to push the boundaries in what's possible with AI models, and thankfully for all of us, they usually open source what they create. Last week, they published DSpark, which is not a new model, it's a speed layer. With this new framework, they were able to speed up their own DeepSeek v4 model inference by 60 to 85% without any loss in output quality, which is pretty amazing. They also released DSpark specific checkpoints for 3 small Qwen3 models, along with a Gemma 4 model, all bundled in a codebase called DeepSpec that allows you to test out this speed layer yourself. DSpark has since been merged into the nightly build in vLLM, so there's a lot happening at the moment for us to look at. In this video, I take the DSpark specific Qwen3-8 billion parameter model for a test drive, using both DeepSpec and vLLM to see what the speedup actually looks like on a single GPU. I tested this out on my local machine here, which has an RTX 5090 that has 32 gigs of VRAM. And I've shared this dashboard and repo I built called DSpark Arena on our GitHub, so you can try this out for yourself on your own machine. I also wired this into the AI agent platform that we are building here on this channel to see DSpark fully in action, powering a real live app. But before we get into the demo, let's walk through exactly what DeepSeek released and how it actually works so you understand what's going on. To understand what DSpark is, you need to understand how LLMs generate text. When you ask a model a question, the answer doesn't land all at once, it trickles out word by word. A language model only ever does one thing, which is it takes everything written so far, as in your prompt plus whatever it's already said, and it predicts the next little chunk of text. That chunk is a token, and it's roughly the size of a word, 3/4 of a word, let's say. And once generated, it glues that token onto the end of the text, feeds the whole lot back into itself, and predicts the next one. Around and around that loop goes, one token at a time, until the answer is finished. And that's what you see when you watch a reply streaming out onto your screen. You're watching that loop in action. Okay, so why is that loop slow? Well, the bottleneck isn't the maths. So if you take the Qwen3-8 billion model, which is what we're doing today, every single trip around this loop means dragging all 8 billion of those weights out of the graphics card memory and through the chip to produce one token. So a 100 token answer means hauling the whole model through the chip 100 times over. And modern GPUs can do the maths far faster than the memory can actually feed them, which means for most of a generation, the chip is essentially just sitting there waiting for the model to arrive. This generation speed is capped by how fast you can move the weights as opposed to how fast you can calculate. And the interesting thing is, if you paste a long document into a chat, the model pretty much swallows the whole thing in about a second, but its reply still dribbles out one word at a time. So why the gap? Because anything that the model has to read, so that document of text that you might paste in, the model can actually handle all of that at once. So every word in a single pass, as you see here. It's only when it's creating new text that it's forced to crawl one token at a time, because each word needs to wait on the previous word to output the next relevant one. So effectively, reading or checking is cheap. It's writing that is dear. So if you're writing a sentence, for every single token, it requires individual hauls through the processor. Whereas if you're reading or checking, you're doing it all in a single go. You can think of this as writing an essay versus marking someone else's essay. If you're writing the essay, it could take an entire evening, whereas if you're reading someone else's, it takes a much shorter time. And this is key to what DeepSeek have released, because this idea of marking or checking or judging text is just far cheaper than actually producing it in the first place. And for these models, it's even more extreme. So checking 6 tokens at once costs about the same as writing a single token, because either way, it's a single trip through the weights. So that's the really important piece. Writing is expensive, checking is nearly free, which then begs the question, what if the big model barely had to write at all? What if something small and fast guessed the next few words, and the big one just checked and marked them? And this is essentially speculative decoding. So you bring in a second model, something small, fast, and nowhere near as clever as the first one, and its only job is to run ahead and draft. So guess the next handful of tokens in a fraction of the time. Then the big model takes that whole guessed block and checks it in a single pass, one haul of the weights, keeping the longest run of tokens it agrees with, and bins the rest. So on this question here, why is the sky blue? It keeps the part it's happy with, which is because air scatters blue light, but it bins the little tail it isn't happy with, which is the moon. And because the big model still signs off on every single token, the output is mathematically identical to what the model would have produced on its own. And this might sound too good to be true. However, if you run it deterministically, like I do in the demo in a couple of minutes, where the model always takes its top pick, it's byte for byte the same. But even when you switch on a bit of randomness, which is the normal mode, where the model rolls, let's say, a weighted dice rather than always grabbing the favorite, you still get the same quality from the same model. So the dice are weighted exactly the same as they always were. So when the drafter guesses well, you skip most of the expensive writing, and when it guesses badly, the big model catches it, throws the guess away, and you're no worse off than when you started. So it's one of those rare tricks where from a quality perspective you genuinely can't lose. The only question is, how much do you actually win? And speculative decoding is not new. You can see it for yourself in action in the likes of LM Studio. So here I have a Qwen3 32 billion parameter model loaded. This is a Q4 version, so it's just over 18 gigs in size. And I can ask this a question, so I'm going to get it to create a dummy HTML page. And it is outputting as you would expect it to output. And you can see the processor is almost maxed out as it is generating the output, and then it's dropping. So that hits 60 tokens a second with 1300 tokens in total. But now if I load up in the speculative decoding panel, I can load up a draft model. So I've downloaded a much smaller Qwen3 model. So this is 0.6 billion parameters. It's a Q8 version. So that's now loaded. And now if I paste in my question into this panel, you can now see that we have these green highlighted words. And these are essentially the accepted draft tokens that were generated from the smaller model. And that has finished. And it is faster, it's 64.5 tokens a second. But you can see 65% of the draft tokens were accepted. So this is traditional vanilla speculative decoding in action. This is not DSpark, but this is good to be able to visualize how the drafter works. And essentially, the more green that you see here, the more of the answer the big model never actually had to write. LM Studio also supports DeepSeek's MTP approach. So if you download a specific MTP model, like this model here that you can see, so it has MTP in the name. And when you go to load that model, you have a draft MTP flag that you can enable, and then it has the max draft tokens and min draft tokens. So in the first approach, you were selecting your own small drafting model, whereas in this approach, the small drafter is baked into the model itself, and you just need to enable it. Building and deploying local AI is a big part of what we teach inside our community, the AI Automators, where we have hundreds of serious builders all creating production-grade systems. If that sounds like something that might interest you, then definitely check out the link below. With DSpark, the model then can stay completely frozen. It's the same weights, there's no retraining or fine-tuning needed, and you can essentially claw a big chunk of speed back just by rebuilding the layer that serves it. So how does DSpark actually earn that speed improvement? Well, there are essentially two improvements here. There's two innovations. There's the drafter and the scheduler. And the fastest way to draft is to guess a whole block of tokens in parallel, all in a single shot, instead of one after the other the way a normal drafter or the big model itself would. And obviously that's quick, but there is a catch, in that when you generate every position at the same time, each guess doesn't know what the guess next to it decided. So the model can produce something incoherent. So if you take this sentence here, because air scatters blue light, there's two neighboring positions, and because they were independently guessed, neither one was obviously able to see the other. So instead of blue light, you get blue light, which obviously is garbled. So when the big model verifies that, it's going to reject it, and these rejected guesses are wasted work. So pure parallel drafting is fast, but it gets sloppy the further into the block you go. And this is where DSpark's first innovation comes from, which is instead of throwing away the parallel approach, they keep it. And they bolt a tiny lightweight head on top of it, which is called a Markov head. And the job is to whisper to each token what the token right before it just decided. So you get the speed of guessing the whole block at once, but you claw back most of the coherence that you'd normally lose. This time our answer comes out blue light, not blue light, even though it was still guessed in a single shot. And the reason it's clever is the cost, because this little head adds almost nothing to the round trip, and in exchange it lifts the number of tokens accepted per pass by up to 30%. And the second DSpark innovation is the scheduler, and this is all about verification. So I told you earlier that checking is nearly free. Well, there's a small catch, which is it's nearly free because the chip is normally sitting there waiting on memory with compute left to spare. And that's only true while the GPU actually has slack. When your GPU is sitting idle, checking a few extra guest tokens really is basically free, so you may as well do it. But when your server is slammed with lots of users, every unnecessary check is actually taking capacity from someone else's request. So the right amount to verify isn't necessarily a fixed number. It very much depends on how busy you are right now. And that's exactly what this scheduler does. It has a live watch of the load on the GPUs, and it dials the verification depth up when things are quiet and backs it off when things get busy. And it does that automatically. So their old production setup just checked a flat 2 tokens no matter what, whereas DSpark flexes that up to around 4 to 6 tokens when it can afford it. And the backdrop to DeepSeek's numbers in this paper around how DSpark accelerates per user generation speed by 60 to 85% is essentially this idea that it is a data center, there's many users per GPU, and you need to maximize the available capacity. And this was measured against their previous production setup, which was already tuned with MTP. And this number comes from real production then, which has thousands of users sharing the GPUs, and it leans hard on this scheduler. If you're running local AI on your machine, you don't need a scheduler. It's going to be your own dedicated GPU. So in this case, it's the drafter that's going to do all the work for you. And this is an important point because DSpark is built on DeepSeek's previous innovation around DFlash. And that Markov head, that DSpark head that they brought in with this paper is just adding the cherry on top of what is already improved benchmarks for speculative decoding. So let's jump into the demo. I have my Docker container spun up here. The model is not yet loaded. So let's go with the code test first. So the way we're going to do this, we're using the DeepSpec benchmark, which is 3 different task presets. There's a code preset, a math preset, and open chat. We're going to request 256 tokens per request. We'll do a best of 3 timing, and we are testing out the Qwen3-8 billion parameter model. It is a BF16 model, so it's going to take a chunk of the 32 gigs available, and that's loading into VRAM using that DeepSpec codebase. And we're up and running. So initially we have the no draft baseline running. This is just the Qwen3-8 billion parameter model. There's no drafting, no speculative decoding. And then we have 3 drafters. So Eagle 3 is going to run, which is producing 110 tokens a second. And then we have DFlash and DSpark that are going to run in turn. So it's best of 3, and you can see the tokens per second on each. And there you go. So in this instance, DSpark won this race at 215 tokens a second. DFlash was 195. So speed is only one element of this, because you can see the acceptance rate per drafts. Here it's 7.0. For DFlash, it's 6.3. And that's really what we're testing. We're not really testing the speed. We're testing how many of these draft tokens were accepted, similar to what we saw in LM Studio earlier. So if I ran this 10 times, DSpark isn't going to win every single time. There will be examples where DFlash wins, because there is a lot of variability in how the graphics card is utilized. And it also comes down to the types of content that's to be generated. So when you're generating code, it's going to be pretty fast. And that's also the case with math. It's going to be even faster, in fact, with math. So if we run this race, you can see that it's a very predictable generated output. And this is why you would have temperatures set pretty low for AI coding models as well. You want less creativity and more consistency. So you can see that that was pretty close there between the two. But when you jump to open chat, for example, and start the race, we're going to see that there's a lot less tokens accepted because open chat is inherently more creative. So the drafter will be producing a lot less successful hits, let's say. And there you go. So accepted was 2.8 versus 2.6 with DFlash. So a lot less than the coding or maths examples. And this is a very important point because speculative decoding in general works a lot better when there's more repeatable, predictable outputs. Now that you've seen the DeepSpec engine tests, let's check out vLLM. So I've built this off the nightly build that has DSpark included. So we'll swap it over to vLLM. Now I have the Qwen3-8B model set up without speculative decoding, so we will use this as a baseline. So we'll run this test. And let's check what type of speed that we're getting. And you can see 92 tokens a second, and that should be the same for the others as well. And you can see that vLLM is hogging most of the memory here, but it's actually spiking as it's generating. So yeah, 92 tokens a second. So let's unload this Qwen3 model and load up the checkpoint that has the DSpark head. And now Qwen3 DSpark is fully loaded, so let's run it again. And you can see it's much faster, 370 tokens a second, 399 tokens a second when it comes to maths. Let's try open chat, 172 tokens a second. And all of this is down to the drafting and the acceptance of the draft tokens. So with open chat, it's a much lower acceptance rate, 3.1. So if I run that again, it'll be the same. Because this is sampling disabled, it's zero temperature essentially. So we're going to get the same every single time. If we run code again, it'll be the same. But you can see that's a dramatic improvement on 92 tokens a second for the different types of tasks. And then this carries through when you actually apply these types of models in real apps. So we have this full stack AI agent platform that we're building on this channel. It's available to members in our community, so I'll leave a link in the description for that. But essentially it's an agentic RAG application that has kind of a knowledge base, document storage, there's vector search, hybrid search, lots of nice things, agent skills, and also has code execution capabilities within a local sandbox as well. So it's a fully local app. So if we copy out, let's say this task for coding, let's drop it in here and execute. So this is using the Qwen3-8B DSpark. It's configured to use it, and it's able to generate the code and iterate upon itself to get to the response. And that was incredibly fast. So there is a sandbox here, there is tool calling. So the sandboxes spin up individual containers that are then destroyed when complete. And yeah, that was really impressive. And let me grab the open chat, for example. Let's just start a new chat here and drop that one in as well. And you can see it has the ability to trigger tools like web search and then ground the response in that. Or I can ask it to check the knowledge base for rules regarding the Formula 1 plank assembly. So we have a folder of F1 regs from a previous video. So it has document search capabilities, the ability to traverse folders in the knowledge base as well. So yeah, it's really fast, as you can see. And this is pretty decent for an 8 billion parameter model. You're not going to get the same intelligence as cloud-based frontier models, but for running something completely locally, it's totally usable. So as you can see, it is possible to run this today. I've uploaded that DSpark Arena repo to our account on GitHub, so I'll leave a link for that in the description below. And because it's open and merged into vLLM's nightly build, you can run one of the DeepSeek DeepSpark checkpoints for the Qwen3 series. So they have the 4 billion, 8 billion, and 14 billion parameter variants. And there are a few asterisks to consider. The Gemma 4 model isn't yet supported. This is the nightly build, it's not the stable build just yet, but that will come soon. Right now it is the drafting half only, so the scheduler that I talked about is not yet included. And right now you are limited to these three because you can't just point this at any model you like. That DSpark head is a small model that's been trained to mimic the specific target. So there is a separate head here for the 4, 8, and 14 billion versions. And right now, that's the list. If you wanted it on a different model, someone would have to train the head for that model first. So it's not a universal switch that you can flip. It's one trained head per model. And that's why they open sourced this DeepSpec code base, because it's essentially the training recipe to create these custom heads. And if you use LM Studio or Ollama, then you're going to need to wait for Llama CPP to integrate DSpark into it as well. So there will be a little bit of a waiting period while the industry catches up with this. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you'd like to learn how to build a fully local agentic RAG app, then check out the video here. This is the first episode of our agentic RAG builder series. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.